Hey there YouTube, Petey here with another quick tip.
What I like to do is grab the string after I've stretched it and do another stretching, rubbing it on here, because what it does is the friction from the cloth heats up the string, and see it goes really flat. It actually heats up the string and helps it to stretch further, so you don't have to worry about it falling out of tune as often. It's a little trick that actually Russ showed me. And it works really well. I never have any tuning issues ever since I've used this method.
So you're at band practice, you just put a brand new set of strings on your guitar, you're jamming, first song, all of a sudden your guitar's completely out of tune. Well, the reason being, the strings are brand new and they stretch, so when you apply pressure to them, you string the guitar and they're under pressure, the molecules are going to begin to give, and they're going to give leeway, and that's going to apply less string tension, so the tone is going to drop. And this is a problem that we have when we install the strings, that it happens a real lot, and then it slows down, and eventually the strings stretch out enough to the point where they stabilize, and they are no more stretching going on, and then you're okay, and you're going to be able to play, bend the strings, do your whammy bar without worrying about the string stretching, detuning the guitar. So here are some things we can do to make that period where the strings stretch out. We want to make that happen all at the point of installation, not later on when we're playing in front of an audience. So as we saw in the video, using a non-treated rag to apply friction is definitely something I'm going to add to my arsenal of tricks. Now, I would think that using that technique on the lower note strings, those three strings, well, they're so thick that there's no way you're going to really heat it up using a hanky. But these top strings, the skinny high note ones, of course, that's definitely going to help. So I'm going to consider this trick, and it's with the bending too. It's more relevant on these higher notes, the non-wound strings, as it is the lower strings. That's not to say that I don't do it. I think I won't do the rag, but the stretching, I still stretch them. So I'm going to give you a quick overview on the tools that I use when I restring my guitar to stretch my strings. So first thing you do, you cut all the strings and you replace them, and you got tuned to A440, right? No, you tune an extra step up. So instead of using the 5th fret on your E string to fork your A, you're going to go to the 6th fret. So you're going to be tuning not to A440, but half step up. So you could call it half step, or you could call it E sharp, because it's going to sound like this when you play an E chord, even without any capo. If you've tuned up a half step all the way across the board, when you play an E chord, it's going to sound like this. And normal, so you can hear it's a one note or one half step up. And the reason that we tune higher is to present more tension across the string, because we want to reduce, we want to accentuate the tension on the string to expedite, speed up the process of the string stretching. So we tune higher, and that stretches out. So when we're tuned higher, that's not for playing, it's just for stretching the strings. And what I do is I grab the string I'll pinch the string at the 12th fret and carefully do this wiggle, 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 do that about a dozen times, and then switch strings, go through them all, and then I will check. Usually it's out. I'll retune, and don't forget, this is that tuning that's a half a step up, so it's going to sound a little different. It's going to be higher without any capo. That's just to simulate the tuning up. You get it? So we go through that process. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then give it a Townsend. Really give it a good one. And then what you'll hear is that it's out of tune because they're brand new strings and they just stretched. So go through that process a few times, 3 or 4 times, whatever is, Usually it's about 3 or 4 times that I go through that. And then at that point, I've done just about enough damage. I can tune it back down to A440. And then you could do this heat trick that the guy was talking about to further friction and create heat. And then at that point, you're going to suffer significantly less tuning instability issues. What you'll find is, if you've never done this and you always put new strings on, that first night is horrible. So really the best thing to do, what I used to do, I used to tune it 2 steps up and let it sit overnight. And that works too. But you're putting that's a lot of extraneous tension on the strings. I would say what makes a little bit more sense is to put a half step up, that's much less pressure, and to play it and stretch it manually. Hear what's going on with the guitar, and you'll know when you've stretched it enough. You'll hear it. It's stable now. And that's definitely a quick tip that is... It's not something that I take with a grain of salt. I do this every time I restring my guitars. So I hope that you found that helpful, and if you got any interesting quick tips, please feel free to share them in the description. All right, you guys. Peace.
What I like to do is grab the string after I've stretched it and do another stretching, rubbing it on here, because what it does is the friction from the cloth heats up the string. And see, it goes really flat. It actually heats up the string and helps it to stretch further, so you don't have to worry about it falling out of tune as often. It's a little trick that actually Russ showed me, and it works really well. I never have any tuning issues ever since I've used this method.